For thousands of years, their stories have been whispered in stone and sand. They were gods who commanded the sun, judged the dead, and waged eternal war against chaos. In the land of the Nile, where pyramids touched the sky, the gods of Egypt ruled over life, death, and everything in between. They were a complicated bunch with power that could create worlds or shatter them in an instant. But among this vast pantheon, who was really the most powerful? Now, ranking gods is tricky, but if we look at their most incredible myths, a hierarchy of cosmic power begins to emerge. Today, we're ranking the 10 most powerful Egyptian gods. From a terrifying goddess of war to the supreme king of the gods, their myths have survived for thousands of years, capturing our imagination with their epic battles, profound magic, and the eternal struggle between order and chaos. If you enjoy epic mythological facts and stories, consider liking the video and subscribe. And while you're here, comment where you're watching from and stick around to see who claims the top spot. Number 10. Anubis, guardian of the dead. Kicking off our list at number 10 is the solemn guardian of the afterlife, Anubis, instantly recognizable with the head of a jackal. His image is one of the most iconic in Egyptian mythology. Anubis's power wasn't about brute force. It was a quieter, deeper authority over the most important journey any Egyptian would ever take, the passage into the underworld. His link to jackals was no accident. These dogs were often seen near cemeteries, and the Egyptians saw them as protectors of the dead. Anubis was the lord of the sacred land, in charge of all funerary rites. Myth credits him as the inventor of mummification, the sacred art that preserved the body for the soul's return. His most legendary act was helping the goddess Isis reassemble the body of her murdered husband, Osiris, performing what is said to be the very first embalming. But his most vital role came after death. Anubis was the guide of souls, leading the dead through the treacherous underworld to the Hall of Truth. There, he performed his most crucial duty, the weighing of the heart. He placed the heart of the deceased on a scale opposite the feather of Ma'at, representing truth. If the heart was light and free from sin, the soul was granted paradise. If it was heavy, it was devoured by the demon Ammit, and the soul simply ceased to exist. This made Anubis not just a guide, but the ultimate gatekeeper of eternal life. Number 9. Sekhmet, goddess of war. Coming in at number 9 is the lioness-headed goddess of war, destruction, and, strangely enough, healing. Sekhmet, whose name means the powerful one. Her power was raw, untamable, and absolutely terrifying. Sekhmet wasn't just a warrior. She was a force of nature, an instrument of divine rage. She was one of the Eyes of Ra, a title for fierce goddesses who acted as the sun god's personal enforcers. Her breath was said to be the hot desert wind, and pharaohs claimed her as their military patron, believing she would breathe fire on their enemies. Her most famous myth shows just how devastating she could be. When the sun god Ra grew old, humanity started to mock him. Enraged, Ra unleashed his eye in the form of Sekhmet to punish them. What followed was a massacre. Drunk on blood, Sekhmet tore through the land, slaughtering mortals with such fury that she nearly wiped out the entire human race. Ra, seeing the carnage, regretted his decision and tried to stop her, but she was lost in a bloodlust and couldn't be reasoned with. So Ra came up with a trick. He had thousands of jars of beer brewed and dyed red to look like blood, then poured the mixture all over the fields in her path. Thinking it was more blood, Sekhmet drank it all until she passed out. When she awoke, her rage was gone, and she transformed into the gentle goddess Hathor. This story shows the sheer scale of her power, a force so immense that even the king of the gods had to trick her to rein it in. Number 8. Ptah, the divine creator. At number 8, we have a god whose power came not from war or the sun, but from the very act of creation itself. Ptah, the master craftsman and creator god of the city of Memphis. While other gods shaped the world through battle, Ptah's power was more intellectual, more fundamental. According to Memphite theology, Ptah existed before anything else. He was the primordial force who brought the universe into being not with his hands, but with his mind and his voice. The mythology says Ptah created the world simply by thinking of it in his heart and speaking it into existence with his tongue. He imagined the cosmos, the gods, the world, and every living thing, and then gave them life just by saying their names. This makes his creation story one of the earliest where divine thought and speech alone bring forth reality. In this version of events, even the great sun god was created by Ptah's will. He was the patron of craftsmen and architects, so his influence was felt in every temple built. In fact, the name Egypt itself comes from a Greek version of Hut-Kata, meaning temple of the soul of Ptah. His power was that of the ultimate artisan, the divine mind who imagined reality and then willed it into being. Number 7. Thoth, god of wisdom. Securing the number 7 spot is the wisest of all the gods, the divine scribe and master of knowledge, Thoth. Usually shown with the head of an ibis or a baboon, Thoth was the god of writing, wisdom, magic, and the moon. His power wasn't physical strength, but his unmatched intellect and control over the universe's secret laws. He was called the tongue and heart of Ra, meaning he was the one who spoke Ra's will into action. Thoth is credited with inventing hieroglyphs, the sacred writing that recorded all of Egypt's history, spells, and knowledge. As the divine scribe, he recorded the final verdict at the weighing of the heart, making him a crucial decider of fate. But his wisdom was more than just record-keeping. Thoth was a master of magic. It was he who gave Isis the magic words she needed to resurrect her dead husband, Osiris. He was also the one who healed Horus after his eye was torn out by Set in a brutal battle. In another famous story, he gambled with the moon to win 5 extra days of light, creating the 365-day calendar so that the sky goddess Nut could finally give birth to her children. Thoth was the ultimate mediator who settled arguments between the gods, most importantly the long and bitter war between Horus and Set for the throne. His power was subtle but everywhere, the voice of reason and keeper of secrets that held the cosmos together. Number 6. Set, Lord of Chaos. At number 6, we find one of the most complicated and controversial gods in the pantheon. Set, the god of chaos, storms, and the desert. Often shown with the head of a strange, unknown creature, he was the embodiment of disorder and the opposite of the harmony and balance that governed Egypt. His power was raw, destructive, and unpredictable, making him one of the most feared gods. Set is most famous for his role in the Osiris myth. Consumed by jealousy, he murdered his own brother Osiris, the beloved king of Egypt, and stole his throne. Then, in a fit of rage, he hacked Osiris's body into pieces and scattered them across the land to make sure he could never be revived. This single act plunged Egypt into chaos and kicked off a long and vicious war with his nephew, Horus. But Set wasn't purely evil. He represented a necessary, if violent, force in the universe. His chaotic nature was essential for balance, keeping the world from becoming stagnant. This double-sided nature is best seen in his job as Ra's bodyguard. Every night, as the sun god's boat journeyed through the underworld, it was attacked by the great chaos serpent, Apophis. While other gods were helpless, only Set was strong enough to stand on the prow of the boat and fight off the serpent, ensuring the sun could rise again each morning. He was both a villain and a hero, a destroyer and a protector whose chaotic strength was a vital and dangerous part of the cosmic order. Number 5. Isis, Mistress of Magic. Breaking into our top 5 is the great mother goddess, the mistress of magic, and the perfect model of a devoted wife and mother, Isis. Her power wasn't just immense. It was transformative, capable of cheating death itself. As the wife of Osiris and mother of Horus, she was a central figure in the most important myth in Egyptian history. While other gods used force, Isis's strength came from her supreme magical knowledge and her sheer force of will. When her husband Osiris was murdered and dismembered by their brother Set, Isis didn't just grieve. She set off on a heroic quest across Egypt to find every piece of his body. With her sister's help, she carefully reassembled him and, using her incredible magic, breathed life back into his body just long enough to conceive their son, Horus. This act of resurrection is one of the most profound displays of power in Egyptian mythology, establishing Isis as a goddess who could overcome death itself. She then hid her infant son in the marshes, fiercely protecting him from Set and raising him to one day reclaim his father's throne. Isis was seen as a protector of the pharaohs and all of humanity, and her cult became so popular that it eventually spread all the way to the Roman Empire, proving the enduring power of this goddess of magic, motherhood, and rebirth. Number 4. Horus, god of kingship. At number 4 is the majestic falcon-headed god of the sky and kingship, Horus. He is a figure of immense power and legitimacy, the living symbol of the pharaoh and the rightful ruler of Egypt. The most famous version of Horus is the son of Isis and Osiris, born for one single purpose: to avenge his father and restore order to the universe. Raised in secret by his mother, Horus grew into a mighty warrior. When he came of age, he challenged his uncle Set for the throne, sparking a series of epic battles. According to some myths, their conflict raged for 80 long years. In one famous fight, Set tore out Horus's left eye, but the wise god Thoth magically put it back together. This restored eye, known as the Wadjet or the Eye of Horus, became one of ancient Egypt's most powerful symbols of protection, healing, and restoration. In the end, despite Set's cheating and raw power, Horus was victorious. He banished Set to the deserts and finally claimed his birthright as king. The court of gods declared Horus the rightful ruler, and with that, he became the model for all pharaohs. Every living king was considered the incarnation of Horus on earth, linking the mortal realm directly to the divine. Horus's power was that of a warrior, but more importantly, he was the symbol of justice, legitimate rule, and the ultimate triumph of order over chaos. Number 3. Osiris, Lord of the Afterlife. Claiming the bronze medal at number 3 is the Lord of the Afterlife and the God of Resurrection, Osiris. Before his death, he was a beloved king who taught humanity how to farm and live by the law, bringing peace and prosperity to the land. But his power reached its true cosmic importance only after he was betrayed and murdered by his jealous brother, Seth. The story of his death and rebirth is the foundation of all Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. After being murdered and dismembered by Seth, his body was found and reassembled by his wife, Isis, who revived him with her magic. Though he couldn't stay in the world of the living, his revival wasn't a failure. Instead, Osiris descended to the underworld and became its undisputed king. There, his power was absolute. He was the ultimate judge of all souls, presiding over the weighing of the heart ceremony that decided their eternal fate. His story gave every Egyptian hope for eternal life. Just as Osiris was resurrected, they too could overcome death if they lived a just life. The annual flooding of the Nile, which brought fertility back to the dry land, was even seen as a reflection of his power to bring life from death. Osiris represents the eternal cycle of death and rebirth, making him not just a god of the dead, but the very source of hope for life everlasting. Number 2. Ra, Lord of the Sun. Our runner-up for the most powerful Egyptian god is the original king of the pantheon, the supreme creator and life-giving sun god, Ra. Usually shown as a falcon-headed man with a blazing sun disk on his head, Ra was the embodiment of light, warmth, and creation. He was worshipped as the father of all gods and the creator of everything. According to myth, Ra created himself out of the primordial chaos. He then brought all other life into being simply by speaking their secret names. It was his daily journey across the sky that gave structure to time itself. Each morning, he was reborn in the east and sailed across the sky in his sun boat, the Manjet, bringing light and life to the world. But his true power was put to the test every single night. When the sun set, Ra descended into the underworld, a place of extreme danger. The greatest threat was the chaos serpent Apophis, whose only goal was to swallow the sun boat and plunge the world into eternal darkness. Ra, along with his retinue of gods, had to fight this monster every single night. This eternal battle against chaos showed his incredible power and resilience. His victory ensured that the sun would rise again, that order would be maintained, and that life would go on. Ra's power was the engine of the cosmos, the unending source of light in a constant struggle against nothingness. Number 1. Amun-Ra, King of the Gods. And now, claiming the number 1 spot as the most powerful god in the Egyptian pantheon is the king of the gods himself, Amun-Ra. This deity represents the ultimate fusion of power in ancient Egypt, a combination of 2 already mighty gods, Amun, the hidden one, and Ra, the sun god. This merger created a single, all-encompassing god whose authority was absolute. Originally, Amun was just a local god of Thebes, representing the mysterious, unseen forces of creation, the very air we breathe. Ra, of course, was the visible, brilliant power of the sun. During Egypt's new kingdom, when Thebes became the most important city, the 2 gods merged. Amun-Ra was now both the hidden, mysterious creator and the radiant sustainer of the universe, a perfect balance of the seen and the unseen. He was worshipped as a national god, the king of the gods, and the patron of the pharaohs, who were called his children on earth. Massive temple complexes like Karnak, the largest religious building ever constructed, were built for him. The myths elevated him to the supreme creator. It was said he created the entire cosmos just by thinking it. While Ra had to physically battle the chaos serpent Apophis every night, Amun-Ra was the transcendent force behind it all, the ultimate source of both Ra's power and even the existence of chaos itself. He was seen as omnipresent and omnipotent, the one from whom all things emerged and the divine authority that held up the entire Egyptian civilization. And there you have it. From the quiet judgment of Anubis to the all-powerful creative force of Amun-Ra, the Egyptian gods had power that shaped every part of life, death, and the cosmos. Each god played a vital role in keeping the universe in balance. Together, their stories weave a rich tapestry that reveals the very soul of ancient Egypt. But what do you think? Which Egyptian god do you believe held the most power? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.